When my Aunt Patricia stood up at my Harvard MBA graduation reception and announced to our entire extended family that I would never succeed in business because I lacked the killer instinct and practical experience necessary to survive in the competitive world of corporate finance, her cruel words cut through what should have been one of the proudest moments of my life, like a blade designed to destroy my confidence and diminish my achievements in front of people whose opinions mattered most to me. The timing of her attack was particularly devastating because it came immediately after I had given a heartfelt speech thanking my family for their support throughout my challenging 2 years of graduate school, specifically mentioning Patricia as an inspiration who had built her own successful consulting firm from nothing and who had shown me what was possible for women in business when they combined intelligence with determination and strategic thinking. Her public dismissal of my potential and her suggestion that my academic achievements were meaningless compared to her real-world experience revealed a level of jealousy and insecurity that I had never suspected from someone I had admired and looked up to throughout my childhood and young adulthood as a role model for professional success and independence. What she didn't know was that her humiliating attack would motivate me to prove her wrong in the most dramatic way possible, and that within just 1 month of my graduation, I would have the opportunity to take over her struggling New York consulting firm when her poor management and unethical business practices finally caught up with her, creating a situation where the niece she had dismissed as destined for failure would become the person responsible for saving her life's work from complete collapse and professional disgrace. The path to my Harvard MBA had been challenging and demanding, requiring years of preparation, significant financial sacrifice, and countless hours of studying while working full-time to support myself through the application process and the 2 intensive years of coursework that had pushed me to develop skills in finance, strategy, operations, and leadership that would prepare me for senior executive roles in competitive business environments. The decision to pursue an MBA had been motivated partly by my admiration for Patricia's success as an entrepreneur who had built Mitchell Consulting from a one-person operation working out of her apartment into a respected firm with offices in New York and Boston that provided strategic consulting services to Fortune 500 companies seeking to improve their operational efficiency and market positioning. Patricia had been a significant figure in my life since childhood, representing everything I hoped to achieve as a professional woman who had refused to accept limitations imposed by gender or family expectations, while building a career that provided both financial independence and personal satisfaction through work that created value for clients and contributed meaningfully to their success. Her stories about overcoming obstacles, winning major clients, and building her reputation in a male-dominated industry had inspired my own career goals and influenced my decision to focus on finance and strategy as areas where I could potentially make significant contributions while following her example of entrepreneurial success and professional achievement. The family dynamic surrounding Patricia's business success had always been complicated, with some relatives expressing pride in her accomplishments, while others harbored resentment about her wealth and status that seemed to create tension during family gatherings where her achievements inevitably became topics of conversation. Her tendency to offer unsolicited business advice and her sometimes condescending attitude toward family members who worked in different fields had created an atmosphere where her success was both celebrated and resented, depending on the audience and the circumstances surrounding particular family interactions and celebrations. The graduation ceremony itself had been everything I had hoped it would be when I first decided to pursue an MBA. With the sense of accomplishment and pride that comes from completing one of the most challenging and prestigious business programs in the world, while surrounded by family members who had traveled from across the country to witness what they understood was a significant milestone in my personal and professional development. The processional across Harvard Yard in my cap and gown, surrounded by classmates who had become close friends and colleagues through 2 years of intensive study and collaboration, represented the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice that had positioned me for opportunities in consulting, investment banking, or corporate strategy roles that would utilize the knowledge and skills I had developed through the rigorous academic program. The reception following the graduation ceremony had been organized by my parents as a celebration that would bring together extended family members and close friends who had supported my educational journey, while also providing an opportunity to network with other graduates and their families who might become valuable professional connections in the future. The elegant venue, carefully planned menu, and thoughtful invitation list had created exactly the kind of sophisticated celebration that seemed appropriate for marking such an important educational achievement, while also honoring the relationships that had sustained me throughout the challenging process of completing graduate school while maintaining family connections and personal relationships. My speech at the reception had been carefully prepared to express genuine gratitude for the support I had received while also sharing my excitement about the opportunities that lay ahead as I prepared to launch my career with the knowledge and credentials that would open doors to positions that had seemed impossible just a few years earlier when I was working entry-level jobs and dreaming about the kind of professional success that Patricia had achieved through her own determination and strategic thinking. The specific mention of Patricia as a role model and inspiration had been included because I genuinely believed that her example had been instrumental in shaping my career goals and my confidence about what was possible for women in business who were willing to work hard and take calculated risks to achieve their professional objectives. The response to my speech had been overwhelmingly positive, with family members and friends expressing pride in my achievements while also sharing their excitement about my future prospects and their confidence that I would build on this educational foundation to create the kind of meaningful and successful career that would provide both personal satisfaction and financial security. The atmosphere of celebration and mutual support had created exactly the kind of joyful culmination to my graduate school experience that I had hoped for when I began planning the reception, as a way to mark this important milestone with the people who mattered most in my life. Patricia's decision to stand up immediately after my speech and deliver her devastating critique of my prospects was so unexpected and inappropriate that it took several moments for the assembled guests to process what was happening and to understand that someone was actually attacking the guest of honor at her own graduation celebration. Her words were carefully chosen to maximize their impact and to undermine my confidence while also establishing her own superiority and experience as the true measure of business success that my academic achievements could never match, regardless of the prestige of my degree or the quality of my academic performance throughout the MBA program. The specific content of Patricia's attack focused on her belief that business success required a combination of ruthlessness, street smarts, and willingness to make difficult decisions that couldn't be learned in classroom settings or through case study analysis, but only through years of real-world experience dealing with demanding clients, competitive market conditions, and the constant pressure to deliver results that would satisfy stakeholders while building sustainable competitive advantages. Her suggestion that I lacked the necessary killer instinct to succeed in business was delivered with the kind of authoritative confidence that made her opinions seem credible to family members who had no direct experience in business, but who respected her success and assumed that her criticisms were based on legitimate concerns about my readiness for professional challenges. The psychological impact of Patricia's public attack was devastating, not only because of the content of her criticisms, but also because of the timing and setting that transformed what should have been a moment of celebration and family support into a scene of humiliation and self-doubt that would overshadow my graduation achievement and create lasting questions about my professional capabilities and prospects for success. The fact that her attack came from someone I had admired and respected made it even more painful, as it forced me to confront the possibility that my role model had never actually believed in my potential and had perhaps been secretly resentful of my educational achievements and career ambitions throughout our relationship. The immediate aftermath of Patricia's speech was uncomfortable silence, followed by awkward attempts by other family members to change the subject and restore some semblance of celebration to what had become a deeply unpleasant social situation that no one knew how to handle or resolve in a way that would address the obvious hurt and embarrassment that had been caused by her inappropriate comments. The contrast between the supportive atmosphere that had characterized the reception before her speech and the tension that followed created a stark reminder of how quickly family dynamics can shift when jealousy and resentment override considerations of kindness and appropriate behavior at important family celebrations. The conversation I had with my parents later that evening revealed their own shock and disappointment at Patricia's behavior, along with their concern about the impact her words might have on my confidence as I prepared to enter the job market and begin my professional career with the expectation of building on my educational achievements to create opportunities for advancement and success. Their reassurance that Patricia's opinions didn't reflect the family's genuine pride in my accomplishments provided some comfort, but couldn't completely eliminate the doubt and hurt that had been created by her public attack on my character and prospects at what should have been a moment of unqualified celebration and support. The weeks following graduation were spent preparing for job interviews and networking with potential employers who might offer opportunities to apply my newly acquired knowledge and skills in consulting, finance, or corporate strategy roles that would provide both professional growth and financial compensation commensurate with my educational investment and career ambitions. The memory of Patricia's graduation speech continued to affect my confidence during interviews and networking events, creating self-doubt that interfered with my ability to present myself with the kind of authority and assurance that employers expected from Harvard MBA graduates who were competing for prestigious positions in competitive industries. The phone call I received exactly 4 weeks after graduation would change everything about my relationship with Patricia and provide an unexpected opportunity to prove that her assessment of my capabilities had been completely wrong in the most dramatic and ironic way possible. The call came from Patricia's business partner and longtime friend Margaret, who had been watching the consulting firm's financial situation deteriorate over the past 6 months as Patricia's poor decision-making and increasingly erratic behavior had alienated major clients and created internal conflicts that were threatening the survival of the business that had taken decades to build into a respected and profitable enterprise. Margaret's explanation of the crisis facing Mitchell Consulting revealed that Patricia's recent business decisions had been consistently poor, resulting in the loss of 3 major clients who represented over 60% of the firm's annual revenue, while her treatment of employees had created a toxic work environment that had led to the departure of several key staff members whose expertise and client relationships were essential for maintaining the quality and reputation of the consulting services that had been the foundation of the company's success. The combination of lost revenue and increased operational costs had created a financial crisis that required immediate intervention to prevent bankruptcy and the complete collapse of everything Patricia had worked to build throughout her career. The most shocking revelation from Margaret's phone call was that Patricia's behavior problems weren't limited to poor business judgment, but extended to substance abuse issues that had been affecting her decision-making capacity and professional judgment for several months, creating a pattern of erratic behavior that had damaged client relationships and employee morale while putting the entire business at risk of legal liability and financial collapse. The board of directors that governed the consulting firm had concluded that Patricia needed to be removed from her leadership role immediately to prevent further damage to the company's reputation and financial stability. Margaret's proposal that I consider taking over as interim CEO of Mitchell Consulting was initially so surprising that I assumed I had misunderstood what she was suggesting, but her explanation that my Harvard MBA credentials, combined with my family connection to Patricia and my lack of involvement in the recent problems that had damaged the company's reputation, made me an ideal candidate to lead the turnaround effort that would be necessary to save the business from complete collapse. The irony of being offered the opportunity to take over the company belonging to the woman who had publicly predicted my failure just 1 month earlier was not lost on either of us as we discussed the practical and emotional complexities of such an arrangement. The decision-making process required careful consideration of both the professional opportunity and the personal dynamics that would be involved in taking responsibility for salvaging Patricia's life work, while also proving that her assessment of my capabilities had been completely wrong in the most dramatic way possible. The consulting firm represented exactly the kind of strategic and operational challenges that my MBA education had prepared me to handle, while also providing an opportunity to apply academic knowledge to real-world business problems in ways that would either validate or refute Patricia's claims about the limitations of classroom learning compared to practical experience. The due diligence process that preceded my decision to accept the position revealed the extent of the damage that had been done to Mitchell Consulting's reputation and financial position through months of poor leadership and erratic decision-making that had systematically undermined the competitive advantages and client relationships that had been built over decades of careful work. The financial statements showed mounting losses, declining revenue, and increasing expenses that had created a cash flow crisis requiring immediate attention to prevent bankruptcy and the complete loss of the business that represented Patricia's primary source of income and professional identity. The client interviews that were part of my assessment process confirmed that Patricia's recent behavior had been consistently unprofessional and had damaged relationships that had taken years to develop through quality work and reliable service delivery. Several major clients expressed willingness to reconsider their decisions to terminate their contracts if new leadership could demonstrate competence and reliability in ways that would restore their confidence in the firm's ability to deliver the strategic consulting services they needed to achieve their business objectives. The employee interviews revealed widespread demoralization and concern about job security as Patricia's erratic leadership had created an environment where talented professionals felt undervalued and unsupported while dealing with increasingly difficult client situations that had been exacerbated by poor communication and inadequate project management. The consensus among the remaining staff was that new leadership was essential for retaining key employees and rebuilding the internal culture that would be necessary for delivering quality work and maintaining client satisfaction. The negotiation process for my compensation and authority as interim CEO required careful attention to both the immediate crisis management needs and the longer-term strategic planning that would be necessary to rebuild the company's reputation and financial stability. The board's willingness to provide significant autonomy and decision-making authority reflected their recognition that dramatic changes would be necessary to address the multiple problems that had been created by Patricia's poor leadership, while also positioning the company for sustainable growth and profitability. The announcement of my appointment as interim CEO of Mitchell Consulting created immediate interest within our family and professional networks, with many people recognizing the irony of Patricia's niece taking over the company just 1 month after being publicly dismissed as lacking the capabilities necessary for business success. The media coverage of the leadership change focused on my Harvard MBA credentials and my strategic plan for turning around the struggling consulting firm while restoring client confidence and employee morale. The first month of my tenure as CEO was intensively focused on crisis management and damage control as I worked to rebuild client relationships, stabilize the financial situation, and create the internal systems and processes that would be necessary for delivering quality consulting services while maintaining profitability and cash flow. The application of strategic frameworks and analytical tools that I had learned during my MBA program proved immediately valuable for diagnosing problems and developing solutions that addressed both immediate crises and longer-term competitive positioning. The client retention efforts required personal meetings with key accounts to understand their concerns and demonstrate the changes in leadership and service delivery that would address the problems they had experienced with Patricia's management, while also providing evidence of the firm's renewed commitment to excellence and reliability. The success of these meetings in convincing several major clients to maintain their contracts provided immediate financial stability, while also creating momentum for rebuilding the company's reputation in the marketplace. The internal reorganization efforts focused on rebuilding employee morale and creating management systems that would support quality work and professional development, while also ensuring accountability and performance standards that would maintain client satisfaction and competitive advantage. The implementation of new project management processes, communication protocols, and performance evaluation systems created the foundation for sustainable improvement in service delivery and client relationships. The financial restructuring required careful analysis of costs and revenue streams to identify opportunities for improving profitability while maintaining the investment in talent and systems that would be necessary for long-term success. The elimination of unnecessary expenses, combined with improved pricing strategies and more efficient project management, created the cash flow improvements that were essential for financial stability and growth. The 6-month performance review conducted by the board of directors confirmed that the turnaround effort had been successful in stabilizing the company's financial position, rebuilding client relationships, and creating the internal systems and culture that would support continued growth and profitability. The decision to remove the interim designation from my CEO title represented recognition that my leadership had not only saved the company from collapse, but had positioned it for future success in ways that exceeded the board's expectations. Patricia's response to my success in turning around her company was complex and emotionally charged, involving a combination of resentment about losing control of her life's work and grudging recognition that I had demonstrated exactly the kind of business capabilities she had claimed I lacked during her graduation speech. The conversations we had about her potential future role in the company were difficult and required careful navigation of family dynamics and professional considerations that had been complicated by our history and the circumstances surrounding my appointment as CEO. The transformation of Mitchell Consulting under my leadership created opportunities for growth and expansion that had been impossible under Patricia's declining management, with new client acquisitions, improved employee retention, and enhanced reputation in the consulting industry, creating the foundation for long-term success and profitability. The application of strategic planning frameworks, performance management systems, and client relationship protocols that I had learned during my MBA program proved instrumental in achieving results that validated the value of academic preparation combined with practical application. Today, 3 years after taking over Mitchell Consulting following Patricia's public prediction of my failure, the company has grown to become one of the most respected strategic consulting firms in the Northeast, with annual revenue that has tripled under my leadership and a client base that includes some of the most prestigious companies in various industries. The success has provided both professional satisfaction and financial rewards, while also demonstrating that academic excellence can translate into practical business results when combined with strategic thinking and effective leadership. The relationship with Patricia has evolved from the adversarial dynamic that characterized our interaction at my graduation to a more complex arrangement where she serves as a senior advisor to the company, while I maintain operational control and strategic direction as CEO. Her experience and industry knowledge have proven valuable for certain client engagements, while my leadership and management skills have provided the stability and growth that were necessary for the company's survival and success. The lesson learned from Patricia's graduation speech and its aftermath is that criticism and predictions of failure can sometimes serve as powerful motivation for proving critics wrong, while also revealing opportunities that might not have been apparent without the challenge of overcoming doubt and skepticism. The experience taught me that confidence and capability must ultimately be demonstrated through results rather than credentials, but that academic preparation can provide essential tools for achieving success when applied strategically and consistently. Looking back on the moment when Patricia announced that I would fail in business, and the month that followed when I took over her struggling company, I realized that her prediction was wrong not because I possessed some innate killer instinct that she had failed to recognize, but because I had developed the analytical skills, strategic thinking ability, and leadership capabilities necessary for identifying problems and implementing solutions that create value for clients and stakeholders. The combination of academic knowledge and practical application proved more powerful than either element alone could have been. Was Patricia's graduation speech motivated by genuine concern about my readiness for business challenges, or was it primarily an expression of jealousy and insecurity about my potential to surpass her achievements? Could her prediction of my failure have been avoided if she had been more supportive and encouraging rather than critical and dismissive? Would you have accepted the opportunity to take over the company belonging to someone who had publicly predicted your failure? Or would the family dynamics have made such an arrangement too complicated to pursue? Sometimes the people who doubt our capabilities the most provide the strongest motivation for proving them wrong through achievements that exceed their expectations and demonstrate the power of determination combined with proper preparation and strategic thinking.